Hi, my name is Mark Griffin. I'm assigned to Station 65 on B shift, and I regularly work as a tiller operator on Truck 65. I'm also an instructor with EVOC for tiller training. The following video can be used to assist you in performing the closed cone course driving exercises. The goals of these exercises are to help you understand pivot points, how steering input affects the movement of the entire truck, the physical boundaries of the truck, the limitations and capabilities of the tractor and trailer, the area of the truck for which the driver is responsible, overcoming blind spots, how to work as a team to control the arc of the truck while backing into tight spaces. In addition, the exercises are designed to promote active communication between the drivers. For example, when to push, follow, straighten, or steer. Let's define some common terms. First is crabbing. Crabbing occurs when both the tractor and tiller steering axles are pointed in the same direction. Crabbing can occur driving forwards or backwards. There may be times when crabbing is desirable, like when you are changing lanes traveling down the roadway, or when you're trying to create distance from an object while backing. Other times, crabbing is not desirable. For example, when the tractor and tiller are working against each other and pulling the apparatus away from its intended drive line. Next, the follow. Follow is a command used to communicate the need to steer in order to get the tractor and tiller back in line or straight. When backing, the tractor follows the tiller in order to get straight. When driving forward, the tiller follows the tractor in order to get straight. Lastly, the push. The push is a command or action initiated by the tractor driver while backing. This provides power to the tiller to help create a tighter turn. The push can be used to move the rear of the tractor and front of the tiller away from an object. In this way, the tractor operator uses the push to control the front of the trailer at the turntable. Unless the exercise objective requires a specific speed, all exercises should be done at a low speed with an emphasis on communication and control. Although the exercises may be successfully completed in a variety of ways, the instruction on this video is designed to a standard to improve consistency and continuity between different tractor and tiller operators. The video contains 5 closed cone course exercises. The first is the turnaround or alley dock exercise. The objective is to pull forward into the exercise with the outside wall on the passenger side. Proceed forward and turn into driveway number 2. Back out of driveway number 2 to the right without crossing the boundary wall. Pull forward and back into driveway 1 without striking a cone or breaking the plane of the driveway. Stop within 2 feet of the end of the driveway boundary. Pull forward out of this space, making a left turn out of the driveway. Drive forward to set up to back into driveway number 2. Back into driveway number 2 without striking a cone or breaking the plane of the driveway. Stop within 2 feet of the end of the driveway. Pull forward and make a right turn to exit the exercise. The dimensions of the driveways are each 12 feet wide by 20 feet deep. The 2 driveways should be separated by 90 feet. The width from the exterior wall to the interior wall or front of the driveways should be 66 feet. The exercise measurements may have to be adjusted to accommodate different course sites. From the tractor operator perspective, proceed forward parallel to the outside wall, leaving yourself approximately 2 feet from that wall. As you steer left into driveway number 2, maintain a center lane placement. Stay close to the outside wall and delay steering input long enough for the rear axle to pivot and line up with the inside wall of the driveway. Stop within 2 feet of the end of the marker of driveway number 2. Pull as far forward as possible. Communicate with the tiller operator, stopping in 3, 2, and 1, stop, allowing the tiller to operate to input counter steer. Communicate with the tiller operator that you are ready to proceed backing to the right and begin backing. Remain straight within the driveway number 2 until the tiller is able to clear the lane. Due to the boundary lines of the driveway, a push is not recommended when initiating the backing maneuver. A push can move the rear of the tractor and the front of the tiller away from the passenger side into the driver's side driveway markers. In addition, when the tractor comes back to follow out of the driveway, front end swing could cause the apparatus to contact driver's side driveway markers. Once clear, the tractor operator should apply full steering input to follow the tiller, and input counter steering prior to stopping. Proceed forward parallel and approximately 2 feet from the inside wall of driveway number 1. When your front tire reaches the far side of driveway number 1, steer left with a full steering input 90 degrees towards the outside wall. Before reaching the outside wall, steer right 90 degrees, placing the tiller parallel and approximately 4 feet from the outside wall. This 4-foot distance allows room for the tractor operator to push, if necessary, for the front end swing. Pulling up parallel to the outside wall sets the tractor up in a position for an immediate push and moves the tiller further away from the inside wall. Ideally, the rear of the tiller will be 8 to 10 feet from the driveway opening before backing. This helps the tiller straighten out and back into the driveway at less of an angle. Communicate with the tiller operator that they are in proper position to begin backing into driveway number 1. Begin the backing maneuver by providing the push, but be prepared to follow quickly. The push is a blind maneuver for the tractor operator. The amount of push required depends on the position of the tractor to the tiller and of the tiller to the driveway. Too much push places the rear axle of the tractor and front of the tiller beyond the driveway entrance. This will push the front 1/3 of the trailer into the cones. If needed, pull forward outside the wall to readjust. Too little push results not in enough movement of the tiller away from the inside apex of the turn. This can be overcome with additional push and follow until the tiller is aligned in the driveway. Communicate with the tiller operator the position of the rear of the tiller within the driveway. This is a blind spot for the tiller operator and requires the tractor operator to assist in adjusting the tiller straight in the driveway. Stop when the tiller operator indicates that they are within 2 feet of the rear of driveway number 1. Pull straight out of driveway number 1 and prepare to steer to the left. Remain straight as long as possible to keep from pulling the tiller over the driveway side markers. Input left steering to come back to the inside wall. When the front tire reaches the far side of driveway number 2, steer right with full steering input 90 degrees towards the outside wall. Before reaching the outside wall, steer left 90 degrees, placing the tractor parallel to and approximately 4 feet from the outside wall. Communicate with the tiller operator that they are in proper position to begin backing into driveway number 2. Begin the backing maneuver by providing a push. Communicate with the tiller operator the position of the rear of the tiller within the driveway. Stop when the tiller operator indicates that they are within 2 feet of the rear of driveway number 2. Pull straight out of the driveway to clear the tiller before steering right to exit the course. From the tiller operator's perspective, follow the tractor into the exercise in a parallel position and approximately 4 feet off the exterior wall cones. When the tractor operator begins to steer into driveway number 2, input full right steering. The goal is to get the tiller straight or slightly to the right of the tractor without breaking the plane of the wall. Prior to stopping, input full counter steering to set the tiller up to back to the right. Confirm with the tractor operator that you are ready to begin backing and have correct steering position. Maintain full right steering as the tractor operator backs out of driveway number 2, and communicate your distance from the outside wall. For example, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Set up to follow the tractor parallel to and approximately 4 feet off the inside wall. As the tractor inputs left steering to set up for backing, counter steer the tiller to maintain a position within the inside wall. When the tractor operator turns to become parallel with the outside wall position, input full steering to the left to follow the tractor. This will help set up the tiller for backing into driveway number 1 as straight as possible. The tractor input should place the tiller approximately 8 to 10 feet away from the driveway entrance. Communicate with the tractor operator to say stop when you are in good position for backing. Input steering to place the tiller in the center of driveway 1, making any necessary adjustments. Use the position of the front of the tiller to communicate with the tractor operator the need to either push or follow. Note, once the tractor operator begins the backing maneuver, the driveway entrance is in their blind spot, so your communication is important. Communicate with the tractor operator the distance to full stop. For example, stop in 3, 2, 1, stop. Prepare for driving forward and remain straight in the driveway. When the tractor operator begins to steer to the left, counter-steer the right to remain straight within the driveway boundary. Once clear of the driveway, input left steering to follow the tractor. Input left steering to follow the tractor towards and approximately 4 feet off the inside wall. As the tractor inputs right steering to set up for backing, counter-steer the tiller to maintain a position within the inside wall. When the tractor operator turns to parallel the outside wall position, input full steering to the right to follow the tractor. This will help set up the trailer for backing into driveway number 2 as straight as possible. The tractor input should place the tiller approximately 8 to 10 feet away from the driveway entrance. Communicate with the tractor operator to stop when you are in good position for backing. Input steering to place the tiller in the center of driveway number 2, making any necessary steering adjustments. Use the position of the front of the tiller to communicate with the tractor operator the need to either push or follow. Communicate with the tractor operator the distance to full stop. For example, stop in 3, 2, 1, stop. Prepare for driving forward and remain straight in the driveway. Tractor operator begins to steer to the right, counter-steer to the left to remain straight within the driveway boundary. Once clear of the driveway, input right steering to follow the tractor. Input full right steering to follow the tractor towards the exit of the exercise. Next is the diminishing clearance exercise. The object of the exercise is to accelerate from a designated starting point in a straight line towards the diminishing clearance lane and steer the tractor tiller between the lane markers without touching a cone. The exercise is designed to help the drivers determine the limitations of the tractor and tiller, increase the knowledge of where the tractor and tiller are within a narrow lane of travel, improve communication on straightness between the tiller and the tractor. The dimensions are a starting point 75 feet from the entrance to the cones. The diminishing clearance lane is 9.6 at the entrance and narrows down to 8.6 at the exit. The diminishing clearance lane is 60 feet in length. It may be difficult from inside the apparatus to confirm which position first struck a cone or cones. Utilize an outside spotter if necessary. From the tractor operator perspective, accelerate from the designated starting point and communicate with the tiller operator to maintain a follow me position. The follow me position is a warning for the tiller operator that the path ahead is narrow and that the tiller operator must be as straight as possible behind the tractor. Enter at a speed which clears the cones within 3 seconds. Time is measured from when the front bumper enters the exercise to when the front bumper exits the last set of cones. Maneuver through the exercise without touching a marker. Maintain a high visual horizon. Place your left foot against the door. It should feel as though you're tapping the top of the cones. Adjust as necessary. From the tiller operator's perspective, align the tiller with the tractor in a follow me position. For straightness, the tiller operator can use the gauge, the center light on top of the tractor, or place tape on the steering wheel. Off-tracking may occur when the tiller operator believes they are straight but are off slightly to one side or the other. Make the proper sight adjustment. We will now discuss the cul-de-sac or horseshoe turnaround. The objective to this exercise is to pull forward parallel towards the outside wall. Turn left into gate number 2. Continue around the horseshoe, exiting and making a right turn out of gate 1 without making contact with any markers. The interior cones represent a raised curb where the body of the truck can go over the cone, but the tires cannot. The delineators represent solid objects. Contact with the black base is allowed. However, no part of the apparatus can contact the orange upright delineator. The tractor driver should push the boundaries to where the tractor tires are at the curb to create a wider path for the tiller to follow. Real-life tight spots require remaining crew members to be on the ground and require pre-planning and communication. Spotters should be in position to verbalize with the drivers to quickly communicate stop as necessary. The dimensions for the exercise consist of 2 gates that are 88 feet apart. Each gate is 15 feet wide, and the interior lane or horseshoe portion is 12 foot wide with the cones placed on their side representing a raised curb. From the tractor operator perspective, Set up along the roadway edge or outside boundary in preparation to make a left turn into Gate 2. Initiate left turn into Gate 2. Recognize that the inside of the turn becomes a blind spot for the tiller operator. Successfully entering this exercise is the responsibility of the tractor operator. Watch the inside of the turn and anticipate impending contact and stop. Communicate with the tiller operator to crab right and then back. This will move the rear of the tractor and front of the tiller away from the inside marker. If the tractor ends up late on the turn, a backing adjustment can be made to improve repositioning and repeat as necessary. Follow the arc around to the exit gate, maintaining a position to the high or outside of the lane. Maintain communication with the tiller operator to make necessary adjustments. Exit through Gate 1, which becomes a blind spot for the tiller operator. Make a right turn to exit back into the roadway. Position the tractor left of the center within the gate. Exit the gate as deeply as possible before turning right out of the gate. From the tiller operator's perspective, set up on the right edge or the outside boundary. The tires must not cross the cone boundary, but the rear end swing of the tiller may pass over the boundary. When the tractor operator inputs left steering to enter gate number 2, input right steering to maintain a consistent distance with the outside road edge. Then steer back to the left to follow the tractor. If the tractor operator indicates that you will contact the inside marker, communicate the need to back up and set up to crab. Note, the inside of the entrance gate is a blind spot and requires communication with the tractor operator to confirm clearance. Follow the arc to the exit by maintaining a position to the high or the outside of the lane. Most likely, this will require full right steering. Visualize the inside of the turn to maintain proper drive line. Follow the tractor and exit through Gate 1 and communicate to the tractor operator when you have a visual on the exit gate. Maintain position in the center of the gate. Re-enter the roadway, turning right after assuring that the gate is clear. Be aware of the rear end swing. Moving on to the lane change exercise. The objective of the exercise is to safely change lanes without hitting any cones while moving forward at a consistent rate of speed. The recommended speed is 10 to 15 miles an hour. Options for this exercise include a low-speed crawl simulating a parking lot maneuver. With this option, the tractor operator can see in the side mirror when the tiller has cleared the lane and communicate that information to the tiller operator. As a note, this exercise is a blind maneuver for the tiller operator. Successful navigation requires communication from the tractor operator. This exercise consists of 3 sets of lanes: the entry lane, the middle lanes, 3 in total, and the exit lane. Each lane is 20 feet in length. 66 feet separates the entry and the middle lanes to the exit lane. From the tractor operator's perspective, accelerate to a speed of 10 to 15 miles per hour. All acceleration must occur prior to entering the lane change. Once at speed, begin to coast. Communicate with the tiller operator when you are entering the lane. Enter centered in the lane. Communicate when you are preparing to input steering. For example, turning left or turning right. Exit the entrance lane and maintain straight for as long as possible. Ideally, until the first 1/3 of the tiller has cleared the entrance lane. Steer into either right or left lane as directed. Apply enough steering input to oversteer the lane slightly before coming back to center. This will help with rear wheel cheat. Exit the middle lanes and maintain center of lane position for as long as possible. Again, ideally the first 1/3 of the tiller will have cleared the middle lanes. Communicate with the tiller to follow me. Steer into the exit lane. Apply enough steering input to oversteer the lane slightly before coming back to center. If the tractor's front tires strike the inside cones, the tractor operator is not steering soon enough between the lanes or late steering input. If the tractor rear tires strike the inside of the cones, the tractor operator is steering late back into the lane or must have more steering input between the lanes. This is because of rear wheel cheat. From the tiller operator's perspective, set up directly in line and as straight as possible with the tractor and maintain high visual horizon. When the tractor operator begins to input steering, immediately, but only for a second, input counter steering, which is steering away from the intended path of travel. The purpose of the counter steer is to maintain the placement of the tiller through the lane. Immediately come back to follow with just enough input to clear the apex of the cone. Follow the tractor through the middle set of lanes. Maintain that follow position through the middle lanes. When the tractor operator begins to input steering, immediately, but only for a second, input counter steering. Immediately come back to follow with just enough input to clear the apex of the cone. Striking the inside of the cones entering the lane is an indication that quicker steering is required. Striking the outside cones entering the lane is an indication that the tiller operator has oversteered or gone beyond straight when trying to follow the tractor. Striking the inside cones exiting the lane is an indication that the tiller operator failed to provide adequate counter steering when the tractor operator began their initial steering input, or that they have steered to follow too soon. Striking the outside cones exiting the lane is caused when the tiller operator steers too soon and the rear end swings away from the intended drive line. The final exercise is a serpentine. First, the forward serpentine. The objective is to pull forward while alternating sides between markers without touching a delineator. The starting position is with the delineators lined up on the driver's side. You can also start with the cones on the passenger side. There are 5 delineators in total, and all are in a straight line. There is 40 feet between the delineators. The faster the speed or narrower the path taken by the tractor operator, the more and quicker the steering input must be from the tiller operator. From the tractor operator perspective, set up parallel to and approximately 4 feet to the right of the line of delineators. Drive forward steering left in a drive line that is centered between the 2 delineators. Steer back to the right around the apex of the second delineator. Maintain approximately 4 feet off the delineators. Repeat the sequence until the final or 5th cone is passed. From the tiller operator's perspective, set the tiller up to the right of the tractor and away from the apex. This will help with the rear wheel cheat. Input full steering to the left to follow as soon as the rear bumper is able to clear the delineator. As soon as the bumper is able to clear the next delineator, input full steering to the right. Repeat this sequence until the final or 5th cone is passed. Now, the reverse serpentine. The objective is to pull forward past the delineators and set up to back through the exercise. The delineators will be on the passenger side of the apparatus. Back through the exercise, alternating sides between the delineators. An option is also to start on the driver's side. Tips. The amber lights directly above the tiller axle provide a good visual indicator of the pivot point for the tiller operator. The most important decision for the tractor operator is knowing when to remove the push and to begin to follow. The decision should be based on the position of the tractor's rear axle and the distance from the edge of the tiller to the delineator. Steering input should be kept to a minimum. Avoid oversteering of the tiller or over-pushing of the tractor. From the tractor operator's perspective, pull forward and align the apparatus parallel and approximately 3 to 4 feet off the delineators. Begin the backing operation, remaining straight with the tiller. When the tiller operator begins to steer to the right, the tractor operator initiates a slight push steering to the left. This action causes the rear of the tractor and the front of the tiller to move away from the apex cone. This angle creates more distance to clear the delineator. The tractor operator turns fully back to the right to begin to follow or to catch up to the tiller. Ideally, coming to a straight inline position prior to the tiller operator turning for the next delineator. This should place the rear axle of the tractor 2 to 3 feet away from the apex of the delineator. Follow straight behind the tiller. When the tiller operator begins to turn left, the tractor operator will input steering to the right to provide a push. Then turn back to follow. Ideally, placing the rear axle of the tractor 2 to 3 feet from the apex of the delineator. And repeat the sequence until the final or fifth cone is passed. From the tiller operator's perspective, keep the tiller straight behind the tractor, parallel to the delineators and approximately 3 to 4 feet off the line. Communicate with the tractor operator when they have passed the furthest cone and are in a position to stop. Maintain distance from the delineators until the tiller axle is at the first delineator. Do not begin steering around the delineator until the rear axle is at the first delineator. Resist the urge to cheat towards the delineators. Communicate with the tractor operator when you are beginning your turn. Steer gradually to the right and keep a high visual horizon that places the tiller driveline approximately 3 to 4 feet off the apex of the next delineator. Maintain that driveline until the tiller axle is at the apex of the next delineator. At the tiller axle apex, communicate with the tractor operator when you are beginning your turn. Steer gradually to the left, then keeping a high visual horizon that places the tiller driveline approximately 3 to 4 feet off the apex of the next delineator. And repeat the sequence until the final or fifth cone is passed. Well, thanks for joining us, and we hope this helps in further tiller and tractor training. Thanks.